Welcome into YouTube. Today I'm going to be taking a look at this wonderful game called The Wandering Village. It's a first looks video. We're going to take a look at starting a fresh game, the tutorial, and then at the end of this video I'm going to give you a quick review about what I think about it. Let's go ahead and dive in. So the first thing looking at this, The Wandering Village, is knowing that it's a simulation building, like sim building game. And my recommendation when you're first starting out at a new game, you have three options. I would say go with the Village Elder because it shows you the ropes of how to take care of your settlement, as it says, and it says it's recommended for first-time players. Plus, it's going to prompt the tutorial, so we'll call this YouTube first look. And once you get kind of a grasp of the mechanics of the game, then I might move on to Adept, because there's some mechanics in the game that can make you struggle at the beginning.
Driven from our homes by the toxic spores, we kept wandering, looking for shelter. But not in our wildest dreams did we imagine what we would find.
So as you first pop in, it's going to pop up with a little tutorial. The Village Elder is going to kind of explain some things for you, kind of go into like a background, a little bit about the history of the background with the game and all that good stuff. And one thing I noticed in the settings, there isn't something to adjust the AI or the UI. I mean, as like adjust the size and all that kind of stuff. And the music could be a little loud, so I kind of had to go in here and turn it down several times. So we'll keep it kind of like here. One of the first things I want to point out when I look at a game, I look at like a couple of things, and the first thing we're going to look at is the interface. The interface in this game is fantastic. As you can see in the top left-hand corner, you have your resources that you'll be using to start your village. And in the top in the top right-hand corner, this is going to be your research tab. These are the different research and like technologies that you can research throughout the game to unlock more technology, which you'll need. So you'll want to start out with kitchen, but I highly recommend that after you're done with kitchen, that you go straight to scavenger hunt, because this was so incredibly useful. And if you have a scavenger hunt, you can send out units throughout the game to gather resources and materials, and as well as knowledge points, which you need the knowledge in order to research new technologies. So that was a big thing that I highly recommend that you get out and get several scavenger hunts as quickly as possible. So speaking of interface, up here you have your research. This explains your food summary, because you got to balance your food. This is kind of your happiness, your population, housing quality, because you'll be able to upgrade into different types of buildings, so that's better. You have your play pause. This lets you go faster, slower, and the Elder's Notebook is very, very useful. So this is going to give you quick information that you can refer to when you're struggling. For instance, I was a bit confused about farming. It kind of breaks that down. Temperature affects things, humidity affects things. So you'll see temperature up here. Certain plants can only be grown certain temperatures. Humidity affects how much water. Toxicity kind of plays in the game as well, because you have to think about health and all that kind of stuff. And then this is kind of like your city overview, but this is Abu. So you can zoom out. 4 to zoom in on your village, 5 to zoom out on him, and 6 to zoom out on the world to see the direction that he's going. And this is what I was talking about. Like, once you build that tower to send out scouts, they basically will come and go gather materials and bring them back. So he's kind of like his own thing. You have to think about, is he getting too much toxicity? Is he getting fed? How sleepy he is, that affects his movement. So that is something I really, so that's kind of the mechanics of the game, but the interface is really intuitive. So you have your materials to the left, kind of your other interface of things you have to pay attention to for your city building things, and at the bottom you have all these different types. So you have your building tab, priority tool, which helps you prioritize what you're building and what you're doing, and your harvesting tool, something that lets you break things down, and then a quick thing to get back to your research. So that kind of covers the interface, which I think was really, really well done. It's very intuitive. Now, when you start looking at the mechanics, basically people all need homes. So you have to start building tents, and the tutorial will help you work through that. So the mechanics of the game is basically gather resources, build a city, maintain the city through providing proper food and support to your people. So we'll dive a little bit into that. So at first you got to get your city going. It's if you look at this, it's like 2 villagers per house. Right now we have 16, so we need to build 8. And we can go ahead and hit play. And we can speed that up. Okay, so we're gonna start running out of materials quick. So you want to make sure, and then you can highlight them, prioritize them. And this will talk you through all the basic controls. So as you get started, you're going to run out of food pretty fast, so you have to look at what you have available. So like I said, you want to get a research thing going down like ASAP. You have to think about food. So you want to put a berry thing around the best berries, and then you look at efficiency of it. So that's not the best spot. That's really not great either. Wow. And every time you load in a game, the layout of Ombu is going to be a bit different every time. These are all not wonderful spots. But I would recommend trying to keep everything kind of close together to start with. So that's 36 efficiency. So we'll just do that. And when there's a little blue balloon, that usually means they're going to come and get that. I also highly recommend starting out with a dirt road. As far as I know, it doesn't cost any materials from what I've seen, and they travel along it faster. And I usually centralize my city, because we'll get into that later, where there'll be certain conditions that you'll run into on the map. And if you go into like a bad spore spot, that can put an infection on your city that will grow super, super, super fast. And it's very challenging to overcome. So they're going to get building. We're going to get that done. A research thing, you definitely want one of these. A worker post is going to be important, because it's going to help them help you figure out how to manage tasks, because right now they're kind of doing everything. It also forces workers in this building get a small movement speed boost. So that's kind of covering the interface and mechanics, and this is kind of the beginning. It's just like any city builder. You got to gather materials, you have to build houses, you have to build so you need shelter, food, and then Ombu will eventually wake up, and what I'm going to show you next is like way more advanced than where we're at right now. But I highly recommend starting on easy. I recommend kind of slowly working your way through the tutorial and then going on from there. And the next thing I'll be showing you is like the overall feel, later game, and all the cool stuff you can build, and what makes this game, I think, so amazing. So that's a wrap for our first look. And I'd have to say, for an early access game, it's got all the bells and whistles, definitely worth the price, definitely worth checking out, and I highly recommend 4 out of 5 Corgi Hearts. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe. See you later.